The hot corner market is doing hot corner things. Names everywhere, smoke everywhere, and only one move that actually fixes the Pirates today. Spoiler, it's Eugenio Suarez. We're going to talk all about it.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to Locked On Pirates, your daily podcast for all things Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan, former editor at SteelCityPirates.com. I've been covering the Pirates since last decade. Everydayers, welcome back, and thanks for making me your first listen every single day on now the number one sports podcast network in all of the land. Today, we're talking the third base frenzy and why real upgrade narrows the list. Segment 2, the Royals just moved in the fences. Should the Pirates consider changes to PNC Park? And in the last segment, a great AMA on media access versus newspapers and YouTube and leaks. This is going to be an interesting question. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. So the third base market is popping. What is an actual upgrade for the Pirates? Like, listen, guys, we've talked about all these players individually as we've gone through the season so far, the offseason. Nolan Arenado's off the board. Finally waived his no trade and went to Arizona, with St. Louis eating a big chunk of his remaining money. Arizona sent back Jack Martinez, the draft pick from last year, for him. So that could have been done. And Nolan Arenado has fallen off the table as far as offense goes and health. Defense is still there. I don't think you could have sold him as a straight up upgrade to what you have. Certainly more pedigree. Certainly you'd have higher expectations than you would if you go into the season with Jared Triolo or Nick Gonzalez as your third baseman. But Nolan Arenado, probably not the upgrade you'd really be hoping for. Bo Bichette could be, but he isn't a third baseman by trade. So at the very least, you're hoping he can handle a position that, you're trying to fill. And if you miss, okay, I guess it's not a total disaster. Next year you can shove him at second, and I think you have a lot more confidence that he can do it. But it's worth noting he's not a third baseman by trade. He is a bat in play. I think this week, I think it gets done. Philly met with him. Reporting says the meeting went really well. Multiple outlets describe real momentum, though Toronto hasn't really closed the door, and the tax math in Philly is kind of gnarly. If the Phillies land Bo, Alec Bohm likely becomes very available. And I know a lot of you have wanted him, but Alec Bohm is not somebody I would consider a guaranteed upgrade. I really don't. I mean, I think he has an interesting bat. He certainly was a top prospect. The glove is okay. I mean, okay. I think that's better than some of the targets that we're looking at on this market. And he's only a one-year solution. I mean, I would take Alec Bohm, and I would think that you're probably going to get some good stuff out of him. But I'd also take Alec Bohm thinking that I really didn't add a whole lot more ceiling than I think I might have already had with Nick Gonzalez and Jared Triolo. Sorry. I know that's not what you guys want to hear, but I just think it's important to note what is and isn't a real solution here. What is and isn't a real upgrade. You don't have the roster space to add 3 or 4 mediocre guys to this team. You got to add 1 or 2 good ones. That's the path. Yoan Moncada still gets talked about. Pirates were among early suitors in on him in December. But his recent defense at third base graded poorly. He's very much so a platoon bat. He should not face left-handed pitching ever. Which, hey, that's the better side of the platoon to fill if you're only going to fill one. I think offensively, Yoan Moncada, if you happen into one of his healthy seasons, you're going to get something out of him. And I don't think that you'd have to have a big commitment here. This is where I think what you actually expect as an upgrade kind of lines up better with what you'd have to pay for it. There's no prospect cost. You're looking at a 1-year deal. I don't think you even reach like 8 million. I think you're somewhere under that for Yoan Moncada. And he probably does help this year pretty immediately. It's one of Jared Triolo's worst tricks is hitting right-handed pitching. At least it has been. And one of Yoan Moncada's best tricks is that he kills right-handed pitching. Can't hit left a lick. Jared Triolo mashes it. It's a platoon made in heaven. And you even have one that's a superior fielder that can play more in the late innings should you decide you want to go that route. Yoan Moncada fits. He's not perfect, but he fits. Isak Paredes. Couple of things have happened here. Multiple cities have kicked tires over the last year because he's been available for a minute. He's with Houston. Arbitration tension a little bit there. Houston just acquired, some help. Good chance Paredes is available. The Astros might have to juggle their payroll to keep him. I think Isak Paredes is a gigantic pull hitter who leaves a lot to be desired defensively. It's a 1-year fit. You're going to pay more than you would for Moncada. I frankly don't think it's as good of a deal as Moncada would be. I think Paredes upgrades your offense, downgrades your defense, only does it for a year, and you get the benefit of paying more for it than you would Yoan Moncada. See, it's things like that that kind of force me out of being in on a guy like that. I've never really been a huge fan. I just see there are a lot of holes in the bat. I see one way he can succeed, and it almost always comes from a pitcher mistake. Those are red flags for me. Matt Shaw. I've heard a lot of you bring Matt Shaw up because the Cubs obviously brought in Alex Bregman. So what are they going to do with Matt Shaw? We talked about Nico Horner and Matt Shaw potentially fighting it out over who plays second base for them. But Matt Shaw, he was a prospect. His numbers line up almost identically to what Jared Triolo did last year. I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel the same about those two players. You shouldn't. Jared Triolo has been doing that at the major league level for a few years. Jared Triolo's older than Matt Shaw. He's been a major leaguer for longer than Matt Shaw. He should be further ahead. It's not a win for Jared Triolo that I'm saying Matt Shaw put up the similar numbers last year. I'm simply saying it because that's why the Cubs upgraded. They don't feel comfortable having him be their starter going into the season, right? And they're at least making it a competition, whether he's the second base starter. I would think that's Nico Horner's to lose. Now, if they trade Matt Shaw to say the Pirates, okay, you have a lot of control over the kid. What he is a less developed Spencer Horwitz. If now you're okay with that being how this team goes about filling a major hole, well, you sure weren't last year. In fact, some of you have not forgiven Spencer Horwitz for being injured at the beginning of last year yet, even though he performed when he came back. So I don't know how you're going to turn around and sell me that you're okay with Matt Shaw. That's not an instant upgrade. It's not. It's an upgrade you got to work for and hope for. You got to hope it's actually there. It's still just a vision of what could be at this point. Miguel Andujar, valuable bat, mashes lefties, but he can't play third base. No matter what his baseball reference says, you do not want to play him there a lot. You just don't. Miguel Andujar's fine if you just want to bring in a bat that can help you in the outfield if he has to, and can help you at third base if he has to. But for the most part, he's a pinch hitter and a DH. I don't think that fits the bill. I really don't. The interest in Eugenio Suarez is very real. He's interested. They're keeping tabs. I don't believe the interest to be reciprocated all that much, which is why I think the Pirates are going to have to overpay if they get this done. But the fit is obvious. Last year, the Pirates ranked 30th in home runs, slug, and ISO. Suarez finished top 10 in slug, top 5 in home runs and ISO. Overall, despite a post-deadline dip in Seattle, which is another very hard ballpark to hit in, he's estimated to get from 2 to 3 years with a significant AAV. I've heard as high as 25, as low as 20. Third base defense has slipped, but the power is immediate. The clubhouse presence matters for a young core. If you're actually trying to win more games by June, not dreaming on maybe Bohm falls into our lap, not converting a shortstop, Suarez is the one real day one upgrade you can credibly land and deploy. Everything else is lottery tickets or blocked guys or accepting shortcomings or giving up a lot of trade capital. I just think you put as many eggs in the Eugenio Suarez basket as you can and see what you can get done. There is no way this deal gets done if the Pirates stay under their quoted high water mark of $110 million. So it's going to take a change of thought from everybody. And the fact that they're still in it tells me that they have. That's really where this has to go, guys. We can talk about third base every show if you like. Lord knows I get enough AMAs and questions about them. But I swear I'm covering them all. I just ran through the gambit of all these players that we've talked about over and over and over again. Some of you are going to send me one that I forgot somehow. I'm probably going to have a very similar thing to say. When we come back, let's talk about geometry a little bit, because the Royals moved their fences. And Andrew McCutchen, he has a short note for PNC Park. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boost you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts a little bit more. Whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, player, coaching, the boosts give you more juice on the bets you already like instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your pick, then apply your profit boosts to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Listen, if the show itself is not enough for you and you want even more, listen, join our Discord. Join the Everydayer Club here at Locked On. It's pretty awesome. $5 a month, $50 a year. Hit that Supercast link down in the show notes. You're going to get all kinds of post-show discussions, new topics that get brought up, a fast lane to AMA questions. It's all in there. It's good fun. Check it out. So the Royals announced they're moving most outfield walls in 9 to 10 feet, and they're lowering the wall to 8.5 feet for 2026. Corners from 356 to 347. That's left field. 353 to 344 in right field. Gaps from 389 to 379 and 410 unchanged in dead center. They framed it as a shift from homer unfriendly toward more league neutral run value on fly balls. And yes, the national outlets quickly underscored this as a power environment bump for a lineup that ranked near the bottom in homers at home. PNC Park, it's historically suppressed right-handed power to the deep left center triangle. And 2025 reinforced that. PNC produced among the fewest home runs league-wide, and the Pirates finished last in home runs. I think that's an important context there because the Pirates finishing near the bottom of home runs had a lot to do with PNC Park finishing near the bottom in home runs. It's, a lot of the same reason that other parks do, but with bad teams. If you want like one that's kind of more real, you have to go to a team that's got a ton of power, like the Padres. See their overall home run numbers and then look at their ballpark's home run numbers versus what they do on the road. I mean, that's a ballpark that punishes power. And it's not really about dimensions there. It's about hitting a ball at night in Southern California. Just, there's a reason Kirk Gibson is remembered the way he is for that dinger, guys. Just going to say it. Like that context is important, I think, to Andrew McCutchen. He chimed in on X with PNC Park take notes. I mean, obviously he feels like he's been robbed of home runs throughout the years. He's kind of taught himself to be a right center oriented home run hitter throughout his career just to kind of combat it a little bit. Is now the right time? I mean, if you truly believe in a young strike throwing staff like Skeens and company, and you're starving for power, I guess modest dimension adjustments can lift run value without turning the place into a bandbox. I mean, that's Kansas City's argument. More consistent outcomes on well-hit balls, fairer to hitters, manageable for pitchers. They're basically, we're hurting the pitchers, but we're not hurting them so bad that it's impossible. We're just making it a little more like the places they play on the road all the time. I mean, my recommendations would be for the Pirates to do some things that I think come natural to them. They need to, I think, start a commission on park-specific study like KC did. Integrating temperature, wind, altitude modeling. They love doing modeling. How many times did they model the team and tell us how many wins they were supposed to get, right? But use all that to quantify expected changes in fly ball run value by zones. Don't guess. Simulate. Don't take stabs at it. Don't wonder if you're helping or hurting. Do some studies on it. And certainly do not tailor it to the players that are currently on this baseball team. Tailor it to what an average baseball player would do a little better in without killing your pitchers. Targeted changes, not wholesale. The deep left field gap of 384 to 410, I don't know. It's the biggest right-handed batter tax in the game, I think. I would nudge the alley in by a few feet. If you want to keep the notch, like just to have the notch, geez, just slide it in a little bit. I don't see why that's so hard. And you can keep the left field foul pole right where it is. Just kind of draw the whole thing straight out a little bit more. Cut some of the notch down. I don't think that's that bad. As it is, too, you're asking your defense to have to carry two center fielders, basically, because it's so gigantic out there. Go ahead and protect that deep center field if you like. I mean, do whatever you like there. Keep the Clemente wall exactly as it is. I think we're just asking for maybe a little bit more of an opportunity for right-handers to have some success here. That said, I think a lot of the time we overestimate how easy it is to hit home runs over the Clemente wall. You've really got to get under it to get it that far and that deep. I think people discount how difficult that is. That's why there's so many, like for a guy like O'Neal Cruz, he really doesn't hit with an uppercut. He's more of a line drive hitter when he's really going well. And many of his balls that he scalds are going to go off the top of that wall or 3/4 of the way up that wall because he hits the ball so hard. It's just on plane. It's just going to hit on that wall. It's not going to get out. It's a home run in a whole bunch of other ballparks that have a short porch in right field, but not at PNC because you got to get it up and over that wall too. And we can't even take a sign off of that wall, so I can't see them changing it from 21 feet high. Can you? But listen, just pair geometry and the results of this study with your roster reality. If you acquire another hitter that happens to be right-handed with power, you're not going to want to truncate him. I don't see them doing it this year. These things you have to kind of already be on top of. But if you've got the pitching staff that you've built this on, I don't think you need to protect them because you think they're good enough to get you wins no matter what ballpark you send them to. If you send them to Colorado, are you not still excited you're sending Paul Skeens on the mound? I think you are. But changing the dimensions like without adding power from the right side would kind of just help other teams, wouldn't it? I mean, the extra 5 or 6 home runs it's going to get Jared Triolo and Jake Mangum from the right side are probably not as worthy as the 15 it could get Eugenio Suarez. So I'm just saying it kind of matters on what you do, whether this matters or not. You brought in a bunch of lefty power now. So now it's about affecting right-handed power. And again, I don't think you're changing that Clemente wall. It's interesting to talk about. I should say too, this didn't come from an AMA. I was going to talk about it anyway, but we happen to have an AMA about it. So just shout out to the Discord AMA there. Up next, got another AMA. This one is about media access. As the big paper reporters are, only going to have a job for about half the season, at least at their current location. It's an interesting question for us to ponder. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. So the question is basically who really has access? Newspapers versus TV versus YouTube. The question paraphrased here because it was long. With the Post-Gazette's decline or going away, Mackey and Beasley seem to have no more insights than this Discord. I mean, I wouldn't say that. These are the AMA's questions, just so you know. Meanwhile, you sometimes hit an information that you won't repeat without a second source. Are PG reporters sitting on stuff they can't corroborate, or are they just as clueless as the rest of us? How close are major newspapers, TV reporters compared to a YouTube broadcaster? Well, it's different for everybody, obviously. I'll answer it as in a vague way, and then I'll try to get a little more specific. I would say access tiers are different still. Beat reporters with credentialed access attend pregame, clubhouse, postgame scrums, team availabilities. They talk to agents, team execs, coaches off the record. That pipeline exists. And I mean, that's why, for example, detailed timestamp transaction reporting on things like Arenado's cash structure or Philly meeting logistics with Bichette or, tends to break through established outlets first. But the ground has shifted. It certainly has. Modern front offices tightly control message discipline. Many big moves are now brokered through national insiders. And team releases tend to kind of go to everybody. So the local beat is often triangulating rather than originating. You saw that in the Arenado deal and the Bichette Phil's meeting trail and national confirmers, team announcement. There's a verification bottleneck, I would say. Ethical standards require at least 2 independent sources for sensitive or non-public info. And that's why you hear me say, I'm hearing, or I'll tell you guys in the Discord something that I can't put on the show because I personally, and I don't have to, by the way, I could just do hot takes. I could just tell you every little thing I hear, every murmur I hear. There's two reasons I don't. One, I would never burn a source like that. And if you talk about things that your source doesn't want you to talk about, they're probably not going to be your source very much longer. And I personally would rather use the information I get to inform my thoughts as opposed to trying to beat everybody else to a story. There have been stories that I could have beaten people with, but they're very much so entangled by who your sources are. I had very good sources for Brian Reynolds for 3 or 4 years now. If anything happens with Brian Reynolds, I'll probably know about it, well, right up there with him himself. I'll probably know about it within minutes of him knowing. But it does no good for me to go out and report it, because if I do, well, you're not going to believe it until you hear it from, Rosenthal or Mackey or whatever. And that's no shot at you or me. I know my place. I know what I am. My opinions are what you're here for, and I'm going to tell you the facts as I know them, based on whatever the reporting has been. When I know more than what the reporting has been, or I've heard things that the reporting hasn't reported, I'll tell you. I've heard it, but that's it. They're reporting. That's a different scenario entirely. And those lines have been blurred on both ends. You got newspaper reporters or journalists that now see themselves as podcasters or YouTube hosts, right? And that's really why they struggle so much on the YouTube end of things or whatever, because they have to use that journalistic standard that a lot of people that do this don't. Now, I happen to. I did it when I wrote too. Again, I didn't have to. I don't have to go through an editor. I'm the editor. I don't have to go through a publisher. I don't have to go through all the checks and balances that a newspaper article has to. I can be quick. YouTube can move faster. I don't have a copy desk. I can instantaneously publish. You can tolerate more speculation from me. If Jason Mackey writes something that's wrong in the Post-Gazette, he'll have real repercussions tomorrow. If I say something that's wrong on this show, I'm going to have a few comments telling me I was wrong tomorrow. And if I'm feeling extra altruistic, or it was an extra big mistake, like I said, they only had a player for 2 years and they actually had him for 5, I'll probably come on here and correct myself. But for the most part, that's going to go into the, I realized that after I recorded bucket. Never to come up again. I won't lose my credibility. Nobody will talk about it. It won't be the end of journalism. It'll be a YouTuber that made a mistake. So it's a very big difference. The PG going away, it hurts the volume of enterprise reporting. I just find it very difficult to believe that Jason Mackey in particular, and I only single him out over Beasley because he just got here. I find it very difficult to believe Jason Mackey won't land on his feet somewhere covering whatever he wants to cover. And if it's the Pirates, I have no doubt the Pirates will go right back to Jason Mackey being their mouthpiece. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean every story they want out, that's their guy. That's who they go to. I mean, and I don't have a problem with that because he does a great job of telling stories. So it doesn't hurt me at all. But the paper closing up, it's going to change the dynamic a lot. I expect the Pirates to probably have to consider opening the doors to a little bit more modern day media. They've been resistant to that. But I think they're going to have to consider some kind of a modified press credential for people. I just believe that's coming. The media landscape is changing so drastically. That's all there is to it. I think papers were going to die at some point. This is a bridge we were going to get to. And, now we are. And pretty much everybody's digital. We've already got some people in town that have proved that can be done no problem, right? Well, not no problem. They work their balls off for it. But, it can be done. It'll change. But as much as things change, the main thing that can't change, in my view, is that integrity. I just will not come on here and report something that I don't have backed up by multiple sources. It's no benefit to me or you. I don't need you going out and parroting things that I said that were wrong. But other people probably have played a little loose and fast with that despite their job title. So I'd like to see that tighten up somehow. But it's really hard once you get into this digital world because, again, the demand to be fast is a lot more important than the demand to be right. Think of how many things Andrew Filipponi has gotten wrong on the Fan. Seriously. Does he get fired? No. Because he gets attention for it. And that's more important. And is he considered a journalist? I bet some of you do. I bet some of you consider him one. I bet he considers himself one. But he's not. He's a talk show host. We've blurred these lines so badly. And I don't want to blame COVID for everything, but that era of time when nobody had access to the locker rooms and we were all literally on the same plane destroyed the landscape. And now all the pieces have to kind of fall back into the places where they belong, and some of them never will. Shows like this have risen in prominence because of that. We are more of a go-to than some of them. If anything, we're at least being honest with you that we're telling you opinions. Just saying. The hot corner carousel is spinning, but only Suarez looks like a plug-in now. The Pirates need this fix, and he's the only fix that I see on the market right now. Casey just reminded us ballparks aren't sacred geometry, and the media front, access still matters, but so do standards. We're serious about Pirates baseball because somebody has to be. Let's go Bucks.